Welcome back, everybody. How are we doing today? Good to see you guys. Hopefully, everybody is enjoying the sunshine. Hopefully, it's sunny where you are. If not, apologies. It's sunny today. It's not crazy nice out. It's still really cold, kind of windy, but it is what it is. We've had our little brief spell of warm weather here in Michigan, and I don't know where you guys are when you're neck of the woods, but here in Michigan in the winter, when it gets to that like March, kind of mid-March, early April, whenever we get a couple days of like mid 50s or so, like we have, everybody in Michigan's like, F it, get the shorts out, let's go golfing, let's mow the lawn, let's do everything we can. So that's what we saw a lot of this week. I mean, I'll be honest, if it hadn't been kind of wet still, I probably would have went and kicked the ball around, but it is what it is. Danny, how are you, my friend? How is it in your neck of the woods, man? Good to see you. He does say hit that like button on the way in, you guys. I do appreciate that as well. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back to preview tomorrow's Europa League match between Manchester United and Sociedad. Obviously, this is not called Sociedad versus Everybody, so we are here to talk about United, our tactics, our team news, how we can best set ourselves up, because it is a big match for us tomorrow. It does represent a stumbling block potentially, but it also is just an obstacle in our path on the way to the next round of Europa League, maybe the next round, maybe the next round, maybe we can get to a final, maybe we can lift that trophy. I want to lift this trophy. This could be one of the most important matches of our season. Right now, every match is important, but this is our only shot at securing European football next season, because we do host Sociedad tomorrow. It is at Old Trafford. We are going into this 1-1 in the first leg. You guys know we did that in Spain at San Sebastian. It's not a horrible result, right, in Europe, drawing 1-1 against, especially against Spanish opposition away from home. But we'll need to pull out all the stops if we want to keep our hopes of Champions League football alive, because this is all our eggs are in this basket right now. So again, we're going to take a look at how United can put themselves in the best position to advance to make that dream a reality. So as Danny Boy says, hit a like on the video for me. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check the memberships if you want to learn how you can get more involved, such as submitting questions for questions from a boot, as we started off this morning with one of those. Like I said, they're not going to be like an everyday thing. It's going to be like the scout reports, where maybe once or twice a week we'll drop one of those out. But those were fun. I do enjoy getting everyone's random thoughts on some things, because these are the kind of questions that keep me up at night, So let's get stuck in, starting with a real quick little bit of transfer news. Obviously, this morning we did that news roundup, so go check that out if you haven't yet. But building off of that, because we did mention a player earlier that's going to come up here. But so Graham Bailey, speaking with United in Focus, has linked us to another young South American talent. This time it is 18-year-old Argentine center back Tobias Ramirez. So, Danny, you let us know if you heard of this kid. He plays for Argentinos Juniors. He's had like a dozen starts last season when he was a teenager still. He's only 18. So he's already a semi-regular starter in Liga de Profesional. He partnered another reported United target, Juan Jimenez, in the under-20 tournament last month for Argentina. So got some international experience at that level as well. So Graham Bailey claims that United have asked about Ramirez's availability in the summer. Add him to the list of young South American talents that we've been linked with recently. I'm here for it too. I've been saying for the last few years that the South American market was going to explode soon. We're starting to see this wave of young talent coming through there. Obviously, it's kind of started a little bit of Julian Alvarez, things like that, Caicedo, whatnot in that area. And as Danny B will tell you, the South American market is teeming with future stars right now. Danny says Anton Stach we're linked with. Yeah, I remember we were linked with Anton Stach, I want to say like last year, or maybe it was earlier in the summer. He's going to be linked with a lot of players, along with Stiller and whatnot. You're going to see a lot. There are a ton of midfielders out there. We have talked about several, Hackney, Yashari at Club Brugge, and obviously guys like Stiller and whatnot. I'm still talking about like Manu Kone, who's now I think on loan at Roma. He is still an excellent player. Lamine Camara at Monaco, another excellent young midfielder, good deep lying playmaker. There are a ton out there. And in the position that we have, I think that there's an opportunity, again, supply and demand, to bring in one or two for the price of like one Ederson, really. Because obviously we're linked with Ederson, who's going to cost maybe like 60 million. We could get two players for that price if we do a little bit of diligence and actual some analysis. So Danny says this Ramirez just as good as Jimenez. Well, I am going to defer to your better judgment, my friend. But anyway, like I said, I like that we're being linked to a lot of young players. We talked a little bit about that winger Haraldson, who's at Lille yesterday. Talked about some strikers recently as well. Obviously, young defenders. Nippon, obviously, Masantuono, obviously, add them all to the list. I mean, most of the players we've been linked with are young, so obviously, not all of them are going to be for the immediate, for the starting 11. Not all of them might be even for the first team right away. I would be surprised if Diego Leon jumps right into first team action right off the bat. Even Aiden Heaven started, in the academy when even after we signed him, he played a game for the youngsters before we brought him back in. So, we still have guys like Sekou Kone rolling around, Fredrickson, Morehouse, Fletcher, Gores potentially when he comes back from injury, Ibrahimov, Devaney, all of these guys. So we're getting linked to a lot. And then he says left foot. Yeah, he is left footed. He does play on the left hand side. So it'd be kind of cool to get a couple of the under 20, the starting center back pairing for the Argentina under 20s at the club. That'd be kind of cool. Just build that for the future. Teresa, welcome. Good to see you. Well, we missed you this morning. Hope all are well. James Trafford, he is pretty good and has a fitting name too. Well, we might have to call him. We might have to change his name to James New Trafford. Yeah, we did talk last week how we were linked with James Trafford. We've been linked with Joan Garcia. We've been linked to Sam Lamens at the Belgian keeper. I think he's at Antwerp, I want to say. We've been linked to a lot of keepers. You guys know my thoughts on Andre Onana. If a Saudi club came in right now, snatch their hand off for any amount of money, more than like 15, 20 million, because the dude is just, he doesn't have it up here in terms of the mentality. And I'm not saying he's dumb. I'm just saying mentality, the fortitude that you need. He doesn't have it. The confidence, whatever you want to fill that blank with, I don't think he has it. But I'd stick with Bindier, VTech next year, let him duke it out, and then we can see. That's assuming we keep Bindier. There's still a lot of rumors. I mean, he's 26. Probably wants to be playing more regularly. It's a shame he's not fit right now because honestly, I'd start him tomorrow. But then he said I read VTech had a blinder in his last game. And yeah, VTech's doing very, very well on loan right now. I have a dog hair in my mouth. I've always got to feel like this is why I don't play with my dogs anymore before I go live because I get dog hair all over me. So yeah, another young center back we're linked with. Tobias Ramirez, young Argentina under 20 international, partners with Juan Jimenez, the other young defender we've been linked with. So we said, Danny says VTech is better, all around game is solid. Yeah, VTech can probably improve a little bit with the ball at his feet, I think. But in terms of just what it is to be a goalkeeper, his reflexes, his saving, his coming off his line to close down space. He's a huge dude. He's a freaking unit, but he claims a lot of crosses, comes off his line. You guys know I like a keeper who commands his box, and at the end of the day, being able to make a save is the most important thing for me. I don't care if you're, like Ederson and you can pick it. Ederson's had some howlers, like Scott McTominay's goal in the Derby before lockdown. I mean, Ederson's done that a couple times. Allison's had a bit of a howler yesterday against PSG. A lot of miscommunication there, so just be able to make a save. That's all I need you to do. Danny says, you think we buy Juan and Tobias? Well, assuming that we're actually interested in some of these, because remember, we did get some other reports from another journal that we weren't going to be putting in a bid for Jimenez. Assuming that we are interested in both, I doubt we'd get both at the same time. We've got Heaven, we've got Kukonki, who's been in and around the first team picture now and then. It depends on price, and again, it depends on if we're actually linked to him. Like I said, we just talk about the news. I don't write it, so who's to say? But it would be cool, like I said, if you get both of them, the right side of center back, the left side of center back for the under 20 nationals for Argentina, and that's a cool little partnership. But I doubt it, but we'll see. I mean, I know like Jimenez, I've watched a little bit of him. He looks better than Armour, but I mean, again, Armour's young, and these guys are playing on full team football now. So let's move on to the match because it is kicking off tomorrow. We've got big match, 4:00. I will be chilling with Dylan. Probably a Sean O'Callahan's watching that tomorrow. But on Sociedad, so seeing as how we just played these last week, I'm not gonna do another deep analysis like it did. Honestly, last time out it was United versus VAR because that I'm still like, yeah, I'm still bitter about that handball. If you guys can't tell, two bullshit pens awarded to Sociedad in the last few years when we've played them is very, very, very frustrating. Still, like I said to start the stream, both sides are going to be putting a lot of their eggs in this Europa League basket in an effort to salvage something from their respective seasons. Sociedad are not, I think they're like mid-table in La Liga right now, and obviously we know where we are. We don't need to get into all that, but for Sociedad, it can provide a bit of momentum to turn around, a lot of their poor results in poor form recently. For us, it's our only hope of Champions League next season. Another round of Europa League matches does mean more revenue for us. So that Ineos will be happy to see that as well. Another two-legged tie is at least another match at home and another split gate receipts or percentage of that at the away leg. So as far as Sociedad go, they rotated hard against Sevilla at the weekend, like hard, which you might say was a bad decision in hindsight because they lost 1-0, but they rotated hard. They even rotated their friggin' keeper. So you can bet they are putting all their eggs in this basket tomorrow. They will put out their strongest side tomorrow. Problem though is that even with their best 11 in their league, they just haven't been great. One win in their last 5, one goal in their last 4 matches, which was the penalty against us, by the way. But at the end of the day, they do have technical players who can cause us problems just with their ability on the ball. Crisp passing, good on the dribble, a lot of good movement, a lot of good spatial awareness, football IQ. They have players who do that. We don't have that many. We talked about that last time. They're going to build out from the midfield, use a lot of movement, a lot of quick passes. Get their fullbacks to move inward to create these little squares and triangles and get one of their 8s to take up some space. I think, though, that, again, like we saw when we played against them in the first leg and like we've seen when we played Arsenal recently, like I think if we can play like that, we'll give ourselves the best chance of beating. I'm not saying you just shut up shop for the sake of shutting up shop. I'm saying how do you nullify a midfield who's got better movement and better technical players? You just don't engage with that midfield. Just avoid getting into that midfield battle right now, like we did with Arsenal. Just sit back and you're just there's no reason. Like all that skill in midfield, all that movement is useless when you're not trying to press them when they don't have anyone to pass around. Just let them get up to the 18, let them get up to our third, sit up shop, be compact, and then hit them on the break. That setup has been ideal for players like Casemiro, who struggled this year with the movement and the tracking back and transitioning to defense. It suits a lot of our players we have right now, and it's doing well recently to create some opportunities for us. But in that transition, though, I'd like us to create some better chances than we did in the first leg. We had 0 big chances last week, and it's not a good idea. I need us to be more clinical with the chances we create as well. Zirkzee managed to score that 1-on-1. I think we can get a few more goals tomorrow, especially if the final ball improves the decision. Remember, last time Garnacho got his head up, he found Zirkzee. Boom, boom, boom. Problem solved. Danny says Armour is Harry's long-lost son. He did grab a goal the other day, so give him credit off a set piece. But defensively, he just doesn't look super comfortable defending in those channels, does he, Armour? The ball over the top does cause him problems, especially when it's like if it's a steep ball that's coming in at a really good angle, he can win that. But it's when one of these shallower ones that's kind of feeding into a channel, he really struggles with that, Armour. But he is a bit old school in that regard, so he has room to improve. Missed a call from somebody. So, again, I think if we play like we did the first leg, we played against Arsenal as well. Again, another team with a lot of movement, a lot of technicality in midfield. I think that we can kind of make ourselves hard to break down and frustrate them and give ourselves. We just have to do better with that final ball, that final decision. That's what's killing us right now. That and injuries, obviously, but you can only judge with what you're seeing on the pitch. So Amorim did his presser today, and Patrick Dorgu joined him. So obviously, yeah, it usually means this player's going to play. Obviously, Dorgu has got one more match to go in his suspension, and that's this weekend away at Leicester. So, and then we go right into an international break. So that'll be fun. Be on the lookout for some fun videos to break up that boredom, because you guys know I don't really do international football because it's friendlies. The one I don't do friendlies in international football. I just pray for no injuries. But Amorim gave his presser. Pretty boring compared to the other presser from the other day. But one journal tried to take Sir Jim's interview and kind of tried to start a little bit of some animosity or try to drive a wedge between Amorim and Sir Jim, referring to Sir Jim's comments that some players might not be good enough or might be overpaid. And he's asking, like, do you agree with this? How do you feel about that? I thought Amorim, say what you want about some of the performances, but Amorim, in terms of knowing how to kind of talk his way through these pressers, especially when there's something that he's not super used to, because you don't get a lot of them in Portugal like you do anywhere near at United, and you don't have any of the scrutiny and pressure that you do at other clubs like you do at United. So a lot of that is brand new, but he's very good at talking to people. And I thought he navigated this question very well. He said, right now, no one is good enough, including him. He says, no one's doing a good enough job. None of us are doing a good job, including myself. But he did add, though, that, if the players and if he want to prove Sir Jim wrong with his comments, that the best way to do that is to step up and perform and win games. It's plain and simple. He's taken a lot of the responsibility on himself, and he's not afraid to challenge his players to step up and admit that it's not been good enough. I think we all know it's not been good enough. And so he's not throwing anybody under the bus. And if he is, he's right there under the bus with his players. And I don't have a problem with that. I think as far as leadership goes, I think that's the best you can ask for a leader, is someone who's willing to roll up their sleeves and join in that accountability. Teresa says that presser, those sport reporters should go back to school. Absolutely clueless. No questions on the game tomorrow. Rather stupid question. And you guys know that these pressers are by far pretty useless. Far and large, it's just they're kind of worthless. Like I said before, a lot of journalism, a lot of money being wasted on journalism degrees in the UK. It was interesting though on that note, Teresa, like so I know like you can kind of tell who some of the journalists are. Like I can recognize Jamie Jackson's voice if he's asking questions and other, but I did recognize the voice of someone from the United Stand. I'm not going to name them. You guys can go watch it, but I'm not going to criticize this person because that's not what I'm going at. But it was interesting to me that when this individual was given their time to speak, they were allowed to ask like 4 questions, but everybody else only got like 1, maybe 2 if you're lucky, maybe like a follow-up or something if you're lucky. So it was interesting I don't know if that's just the rise of content creators. I don't know if it's just United Stand has special connections. We know that they got to do an interview with Rasmus Højlund before, and those are usually approved by the club unless you're Marcus Rashford. But it was interesting that they got double the amount of questions that other people have. So interesting stuff. Like on that note, Teresa, do they get paid? I mean, depending on in my day, old school journalists, you're paid by the word most of the time. But I don't know how it works now. Honestly, it's the United Stand, so the United Stand, they get paid based on clicks and YouTube and sponsorships and stuff like that. So if anybody out there wants to sponsor this channel and can get paid, I'll make sure I go ask some good questions. But until then, at least we're gonna do that. So yeah, you guys can read the comment. I don't want to name her, so you guys can do what you got to do. But let's go look at the starting 11 here, because you guys can get in your predictions for this one. Obviously, it's not as if we have a whole lot of choices when it comes to team selection, but we do need to put out a strong side. We're going into Leicester. Obviously, you don't want to take any game for granted, especially going into international break, especially with the pressure that Ruud is under at Leicester and those players. But so I don't want to say that they're an easy to beat side. Obviously, they're losing to everybody basically, and we beat them several times of asking this season. But I do need us to go strong tomorrow. Dorgu can play. Dorgu did the presser. We need him to start. He'll probably start. Ugarte's back in training with the squad. Don't know if we'll see him start yet, but there's a chance. I don't know if I want Ugarte starting, depending on how we set up, depending on like if we're sitting deep. I don't know if we need Ugarte necessarily. I'm not saying he'll be bad in that tactic, but I'm saying if that's how we're going to do it, we might not need that. Ugarte's the guy if you're playing a little higher with that pivot and you need some mobility. We're not going to need that necessarily if we set up the same way. Yoro's still out, but Amorim did confirm that it's not a long-term thing. Maguire is close to returning, but he won't be fit for this one either. So neither of them actually trained today, Maguire and Yoro. So here's how I think we will line up. Big up, Darko. Big up, man. Humble apologies for my behavior later. You don't have to apologize for anything, man. I don't. I mean, fair play to you if you want to apologize for anything. I don't. I'll say I haven't seen you say anything or do anything that made me think this dude needs to apologize for anything. So no, big up, man. You're all good. We welcome all opinions here, unless you're just completely disrespectful to people in the chat or whatever, or you're like racist or whatever, things like that. But no, you don't have to apologize, man. We welcome all opinions. I don't want to sit here and create an echo chamber. I'm not just saying these things because I think they're right. I give my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. I care more about what you guys have to say about these things. But Teresa says 2 questions each. It's not the first time. The others only ask Amorim their loss. Yeah. And that's the thing. You have a lot of questions. Obviously, Amorim was asked about, the Sir Jim interview and all this kind of things. The stadium, he's asked about the stadium as well. So, and again, he's focusing more on now. He said that the stadium is not going to be ready for 5 years. I'm worried about tomorrow. So he says, I want to win trophies at Old Trafford. So big up Amorim. He gets it. I think he gets it, y'all. So here's how I think we're going to line up. Again, it's needs must. We don't have a whole lot of players to work with. I think that the Xerxes as a 9, I don't think it works that well personally. I just think his movement is not great, and I think we lose a lot of what he's been bringing lately by playing him as the tip of that spear rather than letting him contribute to the build up in midfield and the ball progression. He's very, very good at that recently. He's in really good form, and I don't know why we shifted from that. In the last match, I think I would have liked to just keep going with that. I don't want him to lose rhythm or lose confidence. So, but again, it's needs must. Dorgu's probably going to throw on the left. Eriksson did not have a great match last time out. Probably going to see some Garnacho going on, and then maybe if we can get up by a goal or two, and you can bring on Eriksson later on, and he can just be the guy who helps take care of the ball. He's smart. He's got experience. He's good on the ball. Just helps, like I say, if we're up and we're defending a lead, final 10 minutes, make it boring. And Eriksson can do that. Probably going to see that Bruno Casemiro pivot again, unless for some reason Ugarte starts. Dallo probably going on the right with Dorgu back on the left, although Dorgu started on the right in his first match, so you never know. And then obviously with Euro and Maguire injured, I meant to put De Ligt on the right, but De Ligt's on the center, but probably going to see Lindelof again. Obviously, he did start recently. Didn't have a great match. He had a lot of good clearances, but he still just does not look comfortable. Doesn't look physical in terms of just speed and strength. Just his athleticism. Probably going to see Mizraoui on that left-hand side as well. Although you could flip it either way, put De Ligt on the left and Mizraoui on the right either. So I think I preferred De Ligt on the right, though, if we were doing that. And because Lindelof is a little bit limited in that channel defending, maybe, again, put him back at center. And obviously, Onana will probably start because Bayindir is injured. It's a shame Bayindir is out, but I think I would have preferred to see him because I do think he's the better keeper right now. But it is what it is. He's injured. An argument could be made for Aiden Heaven to get a start after what we saw in that second half against Arsenal. I didn't think he did poorly at all. He looked really comfortable. I've seen some talk online that he could start, but again, it's just online chatter. It's a big match, though, and while Heaven does look good, this is a must-win. This is an important match. So you guys know I always prefer to start strong with my team selection and then kind of make changes to help control the game later on, especially if we're in a lead. And Heaven could do that because he doesn't look like the enormity of the moment gets to him all that much. So, but that's just how I think we might line up. You guys let me know. But this is also the time where we predict the score. So you guys get your score predictions in. I'm going to take this off the screen now so you guys can see the money. I'm joking. I'm actually going to go pretty heavy, and I'm going to say this is going to end 2-0 United. We're at home. We look like we're getting into good positions right now. Sociedad don't look like they have too many goals in them, and literally their only goal in the last 4 was the pen against us and a bullshit handball. I'm still bitter. So they did rotate heavily, though, so I think it's just a matter of not playing their game, as in not getting sucked into that midfield battle and chasing shadows. Just avoid it altogether. You don't have to deal with it. But I'm going to go 2-0 United. It's going to be an uphill battle for sure. We're riddled with injuries. Sociedad, like I said, rested pretty much everyone, so they're going to prioritize this. unfortunately, we do have to prioritize it even with a weak squad. It is what it is. I want to lift this trophy in May. I think it's in Bilbao. I want to lift it. I hope that the Old Trafford crowd is up for it. I hope that they get behind the team, despite how angry some of the fan base might be right now. I hear it. But let's get behind the players. Let's get behind Amorim. Let's get behind the club. Get behind everybody. We have to want the players to perform, and we have to will them to win the game. There's a reason we're called the 12th man. I think that's what we can do. What are you guys predicting here? Kai, welcome back. Kai's going 2-1 United. All right, big up. Danny says 2-1 Sociedad. Oh no, there's always one guy, right? There's always one. Danny, what makes you think that Sociedad are going to double their goals from the last 4 matches in one match? I mean, I can say that, but it's like, what are we going to do? But Danny says 2-1 Sociedad. Kai says 2-1 United. I said 2-0 United. Teresa, get involved. Let us know what your score prediction is. But that is going to do it. Like I said, short preview because we did the deep one last week, and I don't think much has changed other than the fact that Sociedad rested a lot of players. But again, avoid the midfield battle. We don't have the technicality right now to deal with that, and I'd rather us just stick with what's been working recently. Lionheart says, I come in late, and the first thing I see in the chat is 2-1 Sociedad. I'll let you guys talk amongst yourselves on that one. Darko says, I will ask you again, what's more practically better? Try not to concede for 70 minutes and then attack, or be offensive from the start? I don't know if it's as black or white as that. Quite frankly, I think there's a lot of factors. Obviously, injuries are going to play a role. The opposition, the way they play, are going to play a role. At home, away, all that's going to play a role as well. And then, like in a 2-legged tie, sometimes if you won like 7-0 the first leg, that's going to play a role too. Obviously, we didn't, but I don't know if it's is black or white of that. I think practically, you guys know I tend to look at it as this is how we want to play. Let's put the best team out there that can do that. Try to start strong, no matter what that is, whether that's the way we attack, if that's the players we have, or the way we can make ourselves compact, if that's the players we have too. But the strongest 11, I think, is always the thing that's going to get you the best chance of getting a result on the day. So I don't have an answer because, again, I don't do well with either or kind of questions, Darko, and I'm not trying to avoid it. I've never done well with those kind of things, either or. This is why I can't do the Myers-Briggs assessment, because the Myers-Briggs is literally just a bunch of either or, like this or that. I can't do that. And what I just said is exactly why my answer to a lot of these black or white either or questions is usually just it depends. Because it does depend on so many different things. Someone say like, oh, red or blue, and I'm like, well, it depends. You're talking about like wall color, car, like shirt. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, I don't have an answer for you. But what do you think, Darko? What would you like to? What would you say would be the better place to do that? Danny says they will want it more. I mean, Sociedad will want it more. It seems like they do, because they pretty much rested everybody on the weekend against Sevilla, including their keeper, which I thought was ridiculous. So they're prioritizing, and they're going to go hard. You're going to have Zubimende back. He's recently returned. Oyarzabal, Kubo looked a little dangerous. I think Dorgu can handle him, though. So it's going to be interesting. Darko thinks it's going to be a draw and you go to pens. No need to say more. I hope we don't go to pens. We pushed our luck a little bit against Arsenal, and obviously we ran out of luck against Fulham. But as long as Lindelof's not taking the pens, we're fine. And it sounds harsh. I'm not blaming Lindelof. It's just, why wouldn't you put your attackers on the pens? Like, I just don't get it. But it is what it is. Danny says, oh, no, it costs us. I mean, you could put that on a T-shirt and sell it outside of Old Trafford, probably. We'll see what they say. Kai says, if we draw 0-0, we'll win for the away. I don't think they do away goals anymore. But yeah, I think they got rid of that. If it's still 1-1 on aggregate, it'll go to extra time, and then if it's still tied at the end, it's going to go to pens. So yeah, they got rid of the away goal rule a couple years ago, I want to say. Which was funny because initially when Justin and I talked about maybe doing a YouTube thing way back in 2018, the title of the channel was going to be The Away Goal. But obviously they got rid of that, so it doesn't make sense anymore. So just a little fun trivia. That was a while. That was like 8 years ago, almost 7-8 years. So Lionhearts is going bold, going hard in the paint. I'm going bold 4-0 United. Danny, you're getting outnumbered here, man. Lionheart says Sociedad rested everyone last week as well, and we should have won that one. Yeah, they were missing Zubamendi. I think he was ill. But we're gonna see. We should have won. We should have, if not for just a stupid handball against Bruno, which was just dumb. But Teresa's going for a win. 4-0. All right, we got 2 for 4-0, 1 for 2-1. I'm going 2-0. Danny's got 2-1 Sociedad. Darko says, I would go with the approach we used against Arsenal. Not conceding early was the foundation for the way going forward in the second half. Yeah, again, some of it has to do with the opposition as well sometimes. Now, I do think you should have an identity. You should have a way of playing. I think that, again, there's just a lot of factors. If you're riddled with injuries, you're not always going to be able to play because not everybody can do that. And that's something that Ten Hag hasn't quite learned. It's something that Postecoglou hasn't quite learned. You could say Arteta hasn't quite learned it as well, that sometimes on a one-off match, you might have to go full Mourinho and just make yourselves difficult to break down and just try to hit him on the break a little bit. Mourinho literally would look at his season and kind of already plan out what matches he was going to probably get a draw in and whatnot. This is how this guy sets up. So, but I do think what we did against Arsenal, what we did in the first leg, is probably the best, just because just avoid the midfield altogether by not going and engaging with it and leaving space in behind. You don't want to leave space for those eights to run into. You don't want to be chasing shadows in midfield. Just if you just sit a little compact, make yourself difficult, break down, press a little bit like we did see against Sociedad and Arsenal. Like, you can go ahead and press in those situations. That's fine, but only on those kicks. You remember we were pressing hard on like the goal kicks and the deep free kicks. We don't want to get sucked into that battle. Lionheart says, "Noise, Teresa. Glory, glory, Man United." Yes, glory, glory, Man United, everyone. Get your thoughts in. If you weren't able to catch the live, leave your predictions, leave your starting 11 in the comments. Please like the video. If you haven't yet watched this morning's news roundup, go ahead and watch that as well. We had a little fun conversation. It was a good chat this morning. And we saw the introduction of questions from a boot, where I will shake this boot up and pull out random questions, and then we all get to talk about them together. They're so random. I think this morning's was like, what was the one from this morning? Oh, it was should you support your rivals if they get bad referee decisions for the good of the game, or should you just laugh and enjoy it? See, stuff like that, just random things. So Leonard says Lindelof is going to score tomorrow night. Watch this space. Lionheart, if Lindelof scores tomorrow night, man, I will give out 5 memberships on the match reaction just for you, my guy. So you guys can hold me to that. Clip it up. We'll give 5 memberships. I think we did it in February, so we should be good. YouTube only lets you do that like once a month. But until then, you guys, that's been me. Hit the like button for me on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Get involved too if you're new. Don't be afraid to put your opinions out there. As you can see, it's pretty chill. I'm not here to shoot anybody down. I want to make sure everybody's voice gets heard. And I welcome differing opinions. I have no problem with it. Darko, there's no need to apologize for anything, man. You haven't done anything that's apology worthy, but I'm not going to deny you the chance to do that. It's your call. But take it easy, you guys. I will see you guys on the next one. Hopefully back talking tomorrow. I might shoot you guys a short tomorrow when Dylan shows up so we can all say hi to Dylan. But take it easy. Enjoy your afternoon. Enjoy the sun if you have it like I do. And I will see you guys later. Bye.